All right.
I'd like to bring the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing we have is the approval of the agenda, and I need to add a few things to that. I'd like to add underneath 6 as D via italics discussion, and then under that same category, Forest Canton Road. And then underneath the number 7, as item C, ambulance bid, D, courthouse bid, and E, ARP funds.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. I just want to ask what system we're going to use. I'm trying my best to work for you guys and keep things in order. I know that I was sending out a tentative email every week on Tuesday the prior week, asking if there's any items that would ever need, that, you know, these are the items I have. Is there something, anything that needs to be added? Let me know by Thursday. I posted on Thursday. I'm getting no responses. And I literally got to the point where I'm emailing you directly as the president and asking what needs to be on the agenda and still not getting any response. I know that we talked at the beginning of last year that we wanted to minimize the additions. And I just want to know what your system as your administrator is, because I'm getting no help in putting the agenda together. And then we're constantly, every meeting, adding items just for the lack of communication.
My problem is, and it's my fault, a lot of times I don't go through these things till Sunday. And we did have the bidding in the minutes from our 24th meeting that we were going to discuss them, but it never made it. So
I know, but
I
work on it.
apologize,
Yeah.
and in the future I'll try to do better.
We have to post this 48 hours in advance, so we can't wait till Sunday to look at this stuff.
What was that, ambulance bid, courthouse bid? Or?
Then the ARP
Oh, yeah, that's
funds.
right, that's right.
Anything else? With that said, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
First thing up is public comment, and I don't see any. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes from 6/18/2024. Any additions, changes, comments?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from 6/24/2024.
I'd like to thank Lisa Eckers in my office. As you can see, this is from a meeting that you guys just had last Tuesday, and you guys had a meeting minutes today, trying to keep everything to where all the prior meeting minutes are being approved in a timely fashion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She does a good job. Any comments, changes, modifications?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item up is our claims. We have health claims of $107,604.72.
71 cents.
71, I'm a penny off.
Hey.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Aye. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Dental claims of $106.41.
Make a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vision claims of $122.13.
Make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Life insurance claims in the amount of $1,430.84.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that
We have
motion.
a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
payroll in the amount of $181,098.55.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll withholdings in the amount of $38,601.45.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Claim docket, accounts payable in amount of $952,621.09. Slightly different than the books printed, but I think you got the new one.
Yeah. Did you say it was for electric bills, Chris?
It was
or
a utility that got turned in on Friday.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, all right. I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Steve Howe, you're up next. Bridge inspection.
They brought our reports out Thursday, and I just need to get you guys to sign off on those. And he's gonna stop back and get it. We got our books and everything.
How did everything go?
Real good, better than I expected. We don't have any bridges on the 12-month inspection. Our Scour Critical Bridge has been took off there that we had to go inspect every time we had a flood event.
Now, where was that at?
That was down on 5 Deer Creek Road. And every time there was a flood warning, after, we were supposed to go down during the flood, but you can't see nothing then. Then after the flood and check it. And we did some work on that and got it removed from there. So that's,
Was it Athens Road where you had to shut down the road here not too long
Yes.
ago?
Yes.
And that's all repaired and inspected and everything now? Okay.
it wasn't the actual bridge, it was
Approach?
with approach about that wide, just to put it so wide it dropped in. We put some beams in there and concrete, rebar. I don't think we'll have any more problem with it.
Okay.
Our guys fixed that instead of, it's something we could do ourselves.
All right.
So everything's on a 2-year rotation, right? Every county bridge.
Inspection, yes,
So that means we're in pretty fair shape.
saving a little money on the
How
annual.
many bridges are there actually in the county?
100 now. We had
100.
that one last year, so we got 100 bridges that's 20 foot or longer.
That's what they have to be
If
inspected?
it's under 20 foot, it's not a bridge, according to NDOT.
See,
It's a structure.
and the county, a lot of people don't realize that the county actually maintains all bridges in the
Yeah.
entire county,
Everything
means-
except state roads.
except state roads.
Even
So
in the cities?
inside the
Yeah.
cities, so
Yeah.
it's a county obligation that
Mhm.
we have taken care of for years.
Yeah.
So. Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to sign the bridge inspection report as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item, Steve, it's you.
We have the covered bridge inspection I put on there.
Covered
Oh.
bridge certification.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we don't have a covered bridge, do we?
We share one.
We,
Is that the Huffman Mill?
the Spencer County actually owns the bridge. Perry County gets a little bit of money every year for a covered bridge, so we help with maintenance, whatever we got in that account when they do maintenance.
Mhm.
We use that money on that bridge.
Have they done any maintenance or that's the upkeep of it this year so far?
Not this year, no.
Okay.
So is that, I'm assuming the approach part of it, is that considered Perry County
Yeah.
exclusively?
When they redid, they done some work on it a few years ago, and we did the approach on our side, and they did one on their side.
Okay. Then the bridge in itself belongs to Spencer County?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not
It's
sure why.
not, it's not being used. It's more of they built a new bridge next to it several years ago down there.
Yeah, it just kind of sits there.
It's
Yeah,
kind of, it's just a historic thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
That's what I thought.
So do we need any action on that?
Yeah, we have to certify this every year for funding, because I guess we get funding for
We get a
it.
little
I
bit
think a
of
little
money.
bit is,
It
it
ain't
isn't much.
Yeah. But,
I always wondered when I looked at that and I thought, we don't have a covered bridge.
I don't understand it either.
Then
So,
you can't own half the bridge.
No. Everything on the west side of the county is the county to the west. Everything on the east side would be ours. That's the way it's set through the whole state, my understanding. We don't have any on the east side, which we're lucky we don't.
Mm,
Ohio River takes care of that pretty well.
yeah,
Yeah, Spencer County's putting a new bridge as we speak on
Yes,
between the two counties, and they're paying for it.
where at?
North Avery Bridge.
Off Avery Ridge.
Really?
No,
That was one of the roads we intended to pave out of Lit, or give you an update, our Lit paving is done except for that road. The contractor is the same contractor we normally use for bridges. He called me the other day and said, I'm gonna have to bring a 300-ton crane in on that side and several loads of riprap. He said, I hate to see you guys pave that now and then me do damage to it. So I called CNR and they said that wasn't no problem to wait till later in the year when the bridge is done.
So when do they expect completion?
He was planning on being done in July, but he found out the day he called me, he had found out that there's gonna be a 4-week delay on his bridge, on his beams.
Okay.
At least a 4-week delay, so it's gonna be end of July at the very earliest.
yeah, some of the neighbors thought they was coming in last week, and I guess he did too, and then they
Yeah,
got postponed.
That's when they were supposed to be in there.
Well, I think it's in our best interest to wait.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh, yeah,
Yeah, because you just tear a road up
Yeah,
and,
we'll tear it up, guess wrong on the height and everything else, and it'll end up being a.
The way Spencer County, way you come into that bridge from Spencer County, I don't think there's any way they can get them beams in from 545.
he says they're gonna come down that hill from the other way there.
From Huffman?
No,
I mean, Huffman Road?
Yeah.
Really?
or
I still don't see how
no, not Huffman Road. The beams are gonna come in on Spencer County side. They're gonna come in past where Jerry Muir used to live. They're coming
Yeah,
down that.
come down that hill.
Or coming
he's
down that
bringing them
way.
beams down that hill.
Mhm, that's what he said.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I want to call me. I want to sell
Well, we got
tickets.
some guys that wanna be there when that happens.
I do
They're on
too.
the watch.
I'd like to see them make that turn.
I want to say that.
He's done things before I didn't think he could do, so.
That's all.
Well, I'd entertain a motion to sign the covered bridge certification forms as presented.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
A motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Community correction support letter that's underneath this here is not yours though. is it?
Community crossings,
Oh, Penny Crossing.
that's what they community crossings.
Typo,
Are you in charge of community corrections
No.
now, Steve?
I thought, I mean, you have.
leave it to me.
Something going on right there.
Here's the, I've got a copy here too.
That's just so I can have everything I need
Yeah.
for this second.
Randy, you weren't here at the meeting where we went through this, but we can actually apply for additional community crossings money
For the 500,000.
in July first.
Really?
And yeah,
Even after we got them,
Well, we were awarded $1.5 million, but our bids came in so low that we only spent right at $1 million, just a few dollars less than $1 million. So now you can reapply for that, what you are awarded and don't use, you can apply for it the second.
okay.
So we actually have 2 million in community crossings if we're
if we
awarded.
get it. The question becomes, it's not a guarantee,
Mm-hmm.
but we're in good standings with all of our paperwork and everything, and the state encouraged us to apply. So we talked about it at the last.
And somebody told me they would help us if we need match,
Mm-hmm.
not mentioning names.
We'll get it.
Yeah.
We can't turn down $500,000. just
I mean, for our roads anyway, that's
Because,
vital.
it's been a good program through the state, and
They're paying
sometimes it does
75,
sometimes ends, so.
they're paying 75% of the cost.
Yeah, I hope it never ends.
So,
Yeah.
We don't know if we'll ever have it again. You can't depend on it. It's not,
Right.
but I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, our county looks totally different with
Our
community
paving
crossings.
would be pretty poor without that.
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion to sign the support letter for community crossings application that will be in July, the month of July.
I make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Get your signature, we're moving on. Then the next thing is and I sent you this Vitalix. It's a software. And what it amounts to is you put an iPhone that's programmed on the front of your vehicle, and it will drive our roads. You drive the roads. It will take pictures every 12 to 13 feet of our roads, and then it uploads that data and establishes the condition of the road. And this is part of the requirements for community crossings, and I think you've been doing everything manually right now, right,
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And what they do is they drive the roads, and then they come up with what they rate the road at, anywhere from a 1 through a 10.
It's grading the roads is what it is.
Yes.
What they've been doing over the years.
And it says, if I've got the numbers correctly, an 8 through 10's a road that's in fair shape, which is a good, they call it fair, but it's good. And then I believe 4 through 7 is a poor road, which is kind of the medium part of it. And then the 1 through 3 needs a lot of work.
Well, I thought the 1 through 3 was poor, 4 through 7 is fair.
I may be wrong. Maybe
You're
you're
going back.
my interpretation
Eight or
is,
above is good.
but my interpretation is, if you get an 8 through a 10, a newly paved road will end up a 10.
And it can only be a 10 1 year.
Yeah,
And
then
it's
it
go
comes
back
down.
to 9 next
But the
year.
concept behind all this here is some of those mid-range roads, if we catch them before they turn into 3s, cost us less money. So the thought process behind this, Knox County does this, and then they can establish like a 5-year, 7-year plan off of this data as to what they're gonna spend on, how they're gonna approach it. And then we get the software becomes the analytical part of it. The salesman asked to come down and demo it. I have no idea what it costs. He asked me how many miles of paved road we had, and I told him, paved and chip and seal. So, but I never heard anything back from him. But I wanted to have everybody okay with the demo and then ask him to come down.
This can't be done on gravel,
I don't think there'd be a
We
purpose.
rake gravel, but they told us that gravel, usually, any gravel road you got, you just raise it 4 or 5 for good.
Yeah, they could change over a week's time.
Yeah.
You get bad weather in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I'd like to see this. I think this would be,
Is there any benefit to NDOT for having this versus manual?
I don't know if any benefit with them. We had a trial program we tried last year, and it didn't do the pacer rating. I've read about this one that Randy's talking about, and it does say it does pacer rating. That's what we would be. We don't need anything to tell us. The other one we had told us there's a pothole here or a pothole there. We don't, but we can see the pothole.
or you can hit the
We
pothole.
can hit the pothole.
That's usually what I do.
What it does is that, the whole cracking nature of a road and that, and it's scanning that and determining how many cracks is in that road, and that's why it's coming up with what actually the rating is on it. And, as you drive around, and I'm not sure who's driving around, but after a while, I think all the roads will start looking the same. I mean, it's just, you're seeing a lot, and then you're subjectively saying, well, that looks a little worse than this one over here, and maybe it's because you looked at it first thing in the morning or later on in the afternoon. And this way, and it's just a little iPhone, hooks onto your windshield and just scans the road. And you
Then
can,
it just amazes me how technology has went. But this will help with community crossing.
It's possible it could.
you have to have a pacer rating,
Yeah, you have to have a rating.
or you won't be accepted.
Will it be a little more efficient for y'all? Well, you still have to drive the roads, but I mean,
Yeah, it would be quicker probably.
Yeah.
And probably a little more accurate.
yeah.
Well, and the other thing, in talking with the guy, that's what I asked him. I said, Steve's going out to a job. Can he just put it on his windshield and drive there? Sure. I'm thinking, well, we've got trucks that's going all over everywhere constantly. So if we can just get one of these devices, most counties, they said, had 2 of them, put them in the windshield and
But
scan them.
We need to check on, have him come down here and give a presentation. Let's go for a ride and see how this works and then find out the
Get some
cost.
ideas, and
Jared and a couple other guys do the scoring, and they go to training. Something like this has got to be quicker than them having to stop and put stuff in the computer to go in.
then it uploads it all.
That's what I was gonna ask. It probably uploads it
Yeah.
where
generates it, and then I think the program, I have to get qualified that they share it then with the state too. So we're taking care of all this road rating that we need for these community crossings grants.
Well, it works, if it works, it might even help you more on your community crossings grants than any other grants that's out there for roads.
Well, Knox County uses it. That's the guy who was telling me about it.
Mhm.
And that got me started.
And they like it.
Yeah.
It won't hurt.
No.
I mean, he's gonna
It's
come
just a matter of
down
coming down. It doesn't cost us anything.
and they're out of where? I've
Good
got this,
question, right?
I've got this here, but I don't know where they're out of.
Salesman's in this region. It's somewhere in Indiana, but they have a lot. I think New Jersey is where their home base is for the United States, but I think it was developed in Europe. Is where this actually came from. Don't quote me on that.
The other one we had was out of Canada, and it just didn't do the pacer scoring.
Yeah,
That'd be a good question to ask him when he's demonstrating it.
It says in their advertisement it does.
And that's what the Knox County guy said. We just drive our roads, scans them, does all that work for us. So I just think bring him down and let him talk to us. But I wanted to make sure everybody's okay with that.
I think it'd be all right. What do you think, Randy?
Yeah, I think we can look at it.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
And you might call the road superintendent at Knox County, see how they
Yeah,
get
I'll
along
talk
with
to
it.
him. I didn't know who was using it
Matt
for sure.
Holton, I think is his name,
Okay.
PE over there. But he can tell you what they use it for. I mean, he was the one that was telling me about it. And he said it's really a slick system. So
Jared and them do a good job, but this would eliminate any, I mean,
all the paperwork and everything,
Right.
he would just upload it. You just drive down the road. It
Right.
does it for you. And
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking we can get a very good, consistent scan of all the roads, and then once we get our database built up, we can see how our roads are deteriorating too. And we feel like, because anytime you put a person involved, you can become subjective.
Yeah.
And so this way, if Jared rates it 1 year and then we come back and then somebody else rates it, they may see a different thing than what Jared's saying. This way, at least the machine does, and it's consistent, and we can see, how our roads are holding up and whether we need to do something different. So, you're okay. I'll reach out to him, see what kind of available days he's got, see what we can set up. I'm assuming like early morning's better.
Is that better for you, Steve?
Probably.
Start of the day rather than,
We want you to go with us too.
oh yeah, he needs to be there. He needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Okay.
let me reach out to him on that. Then the other thing I have is I've got a letter which was laid on me at the redevelopment meeting. They have done Forest Camp, and they put an 8-inch stone base in, 3 inches of sub material, and they've got another 1.5 inches of surface, but they were not going to pave that until they got most of the construction done. So the heavy trucks got in and out of there before they put the final coat on it. What they're asking is for the county to take on the snow plowing come this winter. It's not necessary because we're not up to specs yet.
Yeah.
Until they get the top coat in there. But again, they're setting aside funds they have out of, I think, probably a TIF fund they have, maybe out of the Courthouse district, or they've got the money set aside to pave it. They want to hold off on that. Same time, they want the county to come through and plow the snow in the event they have a problem. That's what it amounts to. Now, how we approach that, we can accept the road, and this might be Andrew's call on this, accept it contingent upon a surface. We can enter an agreement that says, you still are the owners of the road. We'll plow it, until the surface comes on, and then we'll accept it. Legally, I don't know which way is the preferable way to.
Wasn't it committed though, when it got done, we was gonna accept it anyway?
Yeah, we're gonna take it. It's gonna be probably a better road than a lot of them we currently maintain, just simply because they put so much base underneath it, and then all the material they put on it. They compacted the road when they moved all the dirt, so I mean, it's not gonna cause us any problems. So they asked that we take on that obligation in the event it snows. So,
I mean, if they would put the final coat on, we'd be plowing it anyway this
Yeah.
winter.
right.
So.
They just want to, in the event some truck comes in there and damages the
I
road,
understand that, yeah.
they would like to have the subdivision with a nice slick coat on top of it once it's pretty much built out.
We can add it on our route, I mean, one of our routes, and, you know, as we're going through, we can plow it. I mean,
Is it any advantage to us to accept it and put those miles on our road inventory to get us any additional
yeah, it
money?
gets us a little bit of,
So, I mean, if we're gonna do the work on it, I would think we accept it contingent upon them. The RDC is a county entity, and they're using basic county dollars anyway to put the surface on it, so.
And this county all the way around, you do all, well, it's all except for the 37, but you do all the roads around it, correct?
Yeah.
They're all county.
yeah, it wouldn't take long to run there when they're there on the route anyway and plow it.
And I'm thinking if we pick up an additional asphalt road and pick up a few dollars,
Mhm.
tax-wise.
Yeah.
It would probably be
A
the
little
right.
bit helps.
You know,
And like I said, it's gonna be here next year anyway. or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, or the following year. I'm not sure how fast they'll build out.
I mean, is there anything stopping if we add it now for them putting that final layer on?
The only thing we have is a specific set of requirements to accept any private road into our system. And they need the surface on there in order to do that from our original county ordinance. That's what it amounts to. They've got more rock. They built it to Indiana state standards. They put more base rock down than the county even requires.
I guess you could instruct, the highway department to go ahead and plow it this winter, assuming that they're gonna go ahead and put that last layer on and it'll be added to the inventory anyway. I mean, we're talking, I guess potentially could have an interlocal agreement, even though we're the same, it's like a sub-entity of the same group. I could reduce it to writing just so that we have it, something formalized.
I think it's to our advantage to accept the road, but the requirement for the RDC is to, and we could, if we want to put it within 3 years or something like that, that the final surface will be placed upon it, just so that, because if we can pick the road up, put it in our road inventory, and we pick up road tax dollars, it's to our advantage to do that. If we're gonna go ahead and plow it anyway, we're gonna be putting the money into it normally, so.
It doesn't meet our standards yet, correct?
It needs the top surface on it. I think, do you remember that, Steve? They're probably close, because I think we're maybe 3.5 total of asphalt. I read it, but I don't remember.
I don't remember
I think
offhand.
it was
There's
6
two
inches of
different
base
ones.
and,
There's one for, industrial and one for residential, and I don't remember.
right.
which one was it that had raised it 1/4 of an inch? That was the state, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was on our distress road law.
Yeah. I remember that because they had to go back and redo some
Yeah, they
bits
changed
because
the
they
specs
needed
on
more,
that. Mhm.
surface on it.
So this is a county, we've got an ordinance out there for accepting the new roads. It's what, and this is a county road that we're gonna accept. So, if everybody's okay, can you draft something?
Yeah.
Andrew, with that in mind, are we okay with accepting it into the system contingent upon, the final, we'll accept it, but they're going to commit that the final surface will be placed upon it within a given period of time. If we're okay with that.
Good with it.
I'm good with it. I mean, Steve's gonna be there anyway.
I'll entertain that as a motion, and what I contingent upon them in the future putting 1.5 inches down, accepting the road.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
I have a question. Can we go back to this in italics? Are you guys then going to set up a time to where, is this where they're meeting with just Steve, or is this Steve and the commissioners? Because
It'll be a meeting.
so we'll
Special
need to, I'll need you to let me know, because if more than
Yeah.
one of you is
Yeah.
gonna be there,
Correct.
that needs to be advertised.
Correct.
as long as we collect information, I think we can do that, but you can look into it. We're not gonna make any decisions. This guy's just gonna come in and
Okay.
he's gonna make a presentation and he's gonna put it on a
I
vehicle.
just know that when we went to
drive
the animal shelter and stuff like that last year, like
Mhm.
even with that, if more than one of you is gonna be there, we just need to
around. We can
advertise it.
advertise it, make mention of it, because it's not
Yes.
public, then it's informed. So.
Just wanna make sure.
The ones-
You know, they may even want to come, you know, if the
Yeah.
public wants to come look at it, they can do that, you know. I think it's kind of interesting. I like stuff like that, you know, all
I
the
agree.
new different technologies. I never dreamed they'd have something like this.
Yeah, just let me know and I'll put it on the website and on the bulletin board and we're good to
I
go.
wish I had one for my floors at home where they could come through with this machine and tell me if it's clean. Because I could tell you the answer to that.
Next item up, we have Andrew Foster. And this is the water lines on Old State Road. You're done, aren't you, Steve? I think. Yeah,
I hope so.
unless you wanna, maybe you should hang around here because,
Did you already get your paperwork signed?
Yeah.
Okay, because I had copies too.
and Andrew, this comes back to the water line they're wanting to cross Old 237. And, who's the responsible parties? And we wanna make sure that it's tappable on the other side so we don't have multiple places that they cross the road over
Mhm.
a given period of time. So where are we at on that?
I don't know if I've had much progress on that. I mean, if I can get a contact for who's trying to go across, I mean, I don't know where the utility lines are going.
Is Sam's?
Sam.
This was the last meeting, that
Yeah.
Sam Birch thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I give you a copy of this?
Maybe. Okay. Yes, I remember this now. Let me get with him and make sure because, yeah, we were looking at the permits.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if I have this yet, but let me look at it and I'll get back with him.
So we won't take any action on that. The next item we have up is the title search on Onyx Road. And I found it in our road inventory. I found it on GIS. What's the current thought process on that?
So I spoke with Steve today and got more detail, but I also got with the recorder. I went and my office contacted all the title searching or abstracting entities that have left information with the recorder. And 3 entities got back to me saying they would be able to look through. I think the issue, as we see it, is that there's a 200-foot stretch that we're not sure if that's ours or a private lane or what the legal status of it, if it was an easement. Steve doesn't think it's ours at all, but we have maintained it in the past, meaning there might be some confusion about who's owning it or not. So if we don't know what this 200-foot stretch is, then I can't contract with those two or one of these people, but I got their price quotes. I just wanted to make sure that I know you guys had authorized me to go forward with it, but I wanted to, because we had different quotes and different entities, I just wanted to make sure you guys were okay, because it was a little bit more expensive than I thought, given they're going to have to go back. Essentially what they're doing is a patent search, where they're trying to go back and see if there was any claim to that 200-foot stretch that was originating with us that might have been lost or confused over time, either became private drive or was always a private drive and we've never maintained or we've never gained any legal title to it. They would clarify with us, where it is. But I got quotes anywhere from $125 to $1,500 to go back and look through, depending on what entity you want to go with. So I did send those 3 that got back to me to Randy. I do think, now that I've kind of clarified with Steve where we're at with it, if you want to spend that money to clarify where we're at with those 200 feet, we can do that. Or, we can maintain, just say, hey, we don't think we have any legal title to this part of this road. Unless somebody brings it to us and shows us that we need to maintain it, we can do that as well. It just depends if you, I guess, want to go out there and proactively make sure it's not ours, or wait until someone comes and tells us it's not ours, or it is ours and we need to be maintaining it.
So Steve, if we went out and had to put rock on the road, give me a guesstimate, what would that cost in it?
Well, it's only 200.
Right.
A couple on drop a year would be more than.
Right. See, and that's when I first got those prices. They seemed higher than what we expected. And I thought if push comes to shove, it would be less money to the county if we went out and give it a grade job and a rock job and call it a day. I don't know whether we have an obligation there or not, but I mean, to spend the money on it to determine we have an obligation, then we have to still go rock it. And right now, I don't think it's used. I think it's, yeah, so.
We had maintained it for several years. But like I said before, they decided not to maintain anything that wasn't getting paid for.
Mhm.
But we had maintained that road for probably, I don't know how many years, but for a long time.
This has to do with the one landowner trying to.
Yeah, there's a confusion of the way in and out and the crossing different
Yeah.
property and.
We've got a couple different file cards out there that have got the original, when they took over the road, it's got the, who signed over, how much right of way on each road, and I can't find any card on that road. If we decided to maintain it, I probably need to see if we can turn it in and get paid for it.
See, I don't know, it showed up on the, your road inventory.
We put it on there because we thought it was ours.
Yeah. And then it shows up on GIS.
Then I looked on that thing to see what, what we were getting paid for, and we weren't.
Yeah, so it's just like the twilight zone on that road.
Shouldn't we go ahead with the title search to be safe though? No matter what.
That's what we're discussing, whether we.
Because we got one group of entities wanted open, others doesn't. So I think if we open it, are we setting ourselves up for a
Lawsuit. That's kind of what I was thinking too. A title search would make it completely legal and say, this is this and this is this way.
Andrew, could we do a quick claim title to the property of the adjoining property owners? Or I think that's the name of it, where they actually give up any interest to it. In the event, it's kind of one of those things that it's an unknown, but if I have any interest in that property, then I deed it to the county or an easement so that and I don't know who the adjoining, follow me what I'm talking about. So in other words, let's say we don't have an actual county road there, but these people would sign an agreement granting us an easement from their property. And if we have two property owners on both sides of the road, get both of them to give us a legal document to that respect that says that it is, even if it is or it isn't, we'll grant you X number of feet of easement for that road.
Then we take care of it.
Yeah,
The county
that'd
take
be
care of it,
cheaper
and
than
get paid for it.
going through the title search, because depending on how the title search comes out, we still may have some type of legal requirement. That's my.
So you're asking,
So if whatever the adjoining property owners are, would you grant us, I don't know what, if we want 10 foot from each one of them to make a 20-foot road, would you grant us an easement if that is your property or you have any legal claim to it? I think it's a quick claim deed is what they do on other property where there's a little bit of question as to ownership, whether we could do that on an easement with the property, the adjoining property owners, and then we'd clarify that without the need to do all the title search. I'm just thinking if it would be more cost effective, then it would become part of our inventory. We put a load or two of rock on it occasionally and not spend up to $1,200 or $1,500 on researching the title. Is that an option?
so,
Then it would be open to public roadways.
What in essence, what those documents do, they say if and when I had any kind of ownership here, I hereby grant the Perry County an easement across it.
Yeah, it would open it, and then also the county would take care of it and get.
And then so we have the adjoining where we had been granted an easement for this road. And then not, that way if it is or isn't, depending on after we do an extensive title search, we still would have basically turns it into a county gravel road is what it does.
I mean, are we allowed to accept it into the inventory? Does it meet the private, because going back to what we were talking about just previously with Forest Canton, does it?
How do you accept gravel roads, Steve? That's something I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. We have an ordinance that I've read.
We haven't accepted it for gravel.
Yeah. See, most.
When we had these problems in the past, they decided to go by what was getting paid for. But I didn't know this wasn't on that. You know, we've got a little along dead end short roads.
Yeah, there's probably going, and what, if we do this and somebody else comes in,
Good point.
it's opening the door. If I've got 500 foot of road here and people want to use it and I don't want them to, that we're looking at.
We have several
something else
dead
here.
end roads right now that
Yeah.
the county maintains.
One problem with that is people that live back there, if they can't get out past that church, that's the only way they've got to get in and out.
Well, you can't landlock somebody, correct? That's state law.
I mean, we always just assumed it was county road. We've made, as far as I know, we've maintained it for years and years. We just assumed it was county. And when this question came up, I looked on that map and we weren't getting paid for it, and I couldn't find the easements where people signed the right of way over to us, so I didn't know what they.
I mean, we had a situation similar to this at St. Croix with the old road. I don't know how many years ago that the old road actually ran beside their house. And so.
Do you want to, do you want to, Becky makes a good point that if we do this for one, we might open up an opportunity for one others.
Well,
So,
I think we still need to go back to a title search.
The title search.
And just really show if it was
Yeah.
needed somewhere down
That way we're not
100 years
making,
ago to the county. I mean, and if it's not, then we'll have to deal with it.
And then two, once this is done, if it's done, passed, and what have you, somewhere in there needs to be an ordinance. A county ordinance stating
how we accept gravel.
how we accept the gravel roads and
Yep.
if it's gonna take, who's gonna maintain them.
It's just like your
It needs to
asphalt.
be,
we're gonna do.
because there's a lot of these roads in this county, a lot of them. And this will also settle a lot of land disputes.
I mean, is there some kind of comfortable quote in the middle there? I don't know how we determine which one of the vendors.
I mean, we have a guy that said he would do it for $150. Now, I don't know.
Is it
I mean, 150 and 1,500, there's a lot of difference there. I don't want this to be law school and this and over here be.
Yeah, we called and we asked him, we told him exactly what we were looking for, and he seemed very eager, and he said he'd do it for $150. And then the other entities we talked to said they would do it for anywhere from $250 to $1,500.
Can we do it in the middle maybe and see,
Well,
hopefully, I don't know. I'm just,
has
This
the
$150
$150 individual done similar work or has anything they can point to
Just a
that?
suggestion.
Mhm.
The recorder's office works with abstractors every day, all day long. So you said you talked to 3 different individuals that got back to you. I would probably reach out to the recorder's office and see if there's one that's better than the other one, just to make sure that you're getting
your money's
accurate
worth.
title search.
I did not want to put the recorder in the situation of her having to recommend somebody.
I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
This
So I was
person's
just-
really good,
yeah.
this person's maybe not so good, and not that they're telling you go with this person. Maybe just with their suggestion that this person's really good, this person's maybe not the greatest, and then you pick.
Abstractors are all licensed and insured, aren't they? In the event of error.
That'd be, depends, I think. But do you,
Supposed to.
yeah.
They're supposed to be licensed, that's why we can't do a search.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do a search, but it's not an official search because we're not licensed to do a
See,
search.
and I think with that, they have liabilities that they pick up in the event of an error.
Generally,
It's enforceable.
the entity that's providing the opinion, I think, would have to have, because some of the abstractors will just give the records to an attorney, and the attorney will basically review their abstract and then provide an opinion for it. But why don't we do this? if you're wanting to go forward with the title opinion, maybe say we'll authorize up to $500 so that I can go to these entities and say, listen, I got max 500. If you can't do it for 500, I'll have authorization to give anything more than that. That'll hopefully kind of keep them at a limit.
I'm comfortable with that. Yeah,
Because I do,
and then do a little probing to make sure of the quality and that they're
See what the record
going to
is.
stand behind
yes,
their opinion because. So.
I can do that. And because I do think it matters how you've gotten title, because if you had title originally, then it's already ours. And we're not talking about having to adopt it in with
Right.
gravel roads count in, stuff
Right.
like
It
that.
simplifies the second person that shows
Yes.
up with the same issue.
Because if it's not ours, when this title opinion says that, then we're gonna have to look closely at how we accept gravel
Gravel
roads in the
roads.
future. Or if we want to accept them, like a reopen Pandora's box by opening, that question might be moot, because if it's ours, then we can just say, okay, go ahead and maintain it. But if it isn't, then we're gonna have to do a second
Is
process.
that okay with the $500?
Yeah.
Better be safe.
I mean, anymore, I don't see how you can do anything for $150. Any kind of title search, legal work, anything.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve up to $500 for a title search on an Onyx Road.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
A motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What do you want to pay this out of?
We'll figure that out when we get there. We'll find a spot somewhere. Once he gets a number that we can work with. Next item up is our ambulance bid. We took ambulance bids in. Randy, you weren't here, but we had two people that actually submitted bids. Our Enterprises, they're the ones who did the last ambulance for us, and we bought a box from them on a remount, and they were at $187,085 on their bid. And Crossroads Ambulance also submitted a bid of $190,855. The R Enterprises stated theirs would deliver by March 1st, 2025, and Crossroads was delivered by the end of 2025. So the R Enterprise is a little less money and a little quicker delivery. So I would entertain a motion to approve that bid and get them started in the process. This is being paid out of ARP funds that we have previously approved.
Crossroads was the name of it?
Right here.
Okay, yeah, Crossroads.
Crossroads is a higher one, wasn't it?
About 3,000, a little more than
Yeah.
3,000.
And the other one was
It's our Enterprise.
our Enterprise.
Well, I think since it's a quicker time and a cheaper price, probably need to go with our Enterprises. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
These are the same people that did the
The last
ambulance
one.
that we put on the road now, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, not we, but
Do they guarantee their work, because that new ambulance, it has problems with it, with the wiring and the lights and stuff?
Yeah, it has a guarantee on it.
And the radios,
Radio would not be their issue, but anything light related, it is under warranty currently.
mhm.
And if they do have a problem, this is the first I've heard of it. So they need to be, who told you that? So
I've
I
been hearing from several of the EMTs and paramedics that they got problems with the lights and the wiring in that new one.
okay, you don't have a name? What we have to do,
I'm not gonna put those guys on the front page because I have to work with them.
But we just need to know.
yeah,
But,
I mean, we can't enforce, it's under warranty. If
okay,
there is anything that's wrong with that ambulance, they will correct it.
they probably didn't need to reach out.
And so, yes, and if there's a problem, I mean,
Let her know that.
yeah, because we don't, I mean, if there is a problem with it, we for sure don't want to ignore it and not let the warranty run out on the thing. So, I mean, this is the first I've heard of that. Next item up, we also accepted bids for the expansion of the courthouse at the back of the prosecutor's office. We had 2 bids for that. JK Forever Homes bid $698,000, and Arnold Associates bid $653,200 for that addition. And that one, we need to, I'd entertain a motion to approve it, but that has to go to the council. We've got the funds through the LIT, which became available today, where we can use it for the project, but the council has to approve that. So we'd have to approve it and send it to them on that bid.
I'll make a motion for Arnold's. No,
Yeah, they got the cheapest bid.
Yeah.
About 45,000. And looking through their subcontractors,
yeah.
I think everything's local, which
This is their,
is good. So,
who they're using for subbing.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 3-0. Next item up, we've been going through this ARP and we're still working on this. But at our last meeting, we had 2 items that we approved, or we suggested that we need to bring them in front of the commissioners and the council. One of them is for the coroner's office in the amount of $25,000. And what that does is it provides some renovation at the armory. They're going to build up and put a concrete, it's the same height then as the interior floor of their current office. And then they would put their coolers on that new platform recessed into the wall. So in essence, it will provide more room in there and where they do their autopsies. With that said, they also have a body lift in there that is positioned incorrectly, has been probably from the original installation, that will be rotated so that they can pull the bodies out, lift them with that unit. So that's what this covers, and it was suggested that for approval for this project. Did I miss anything, Warren? Is that pretty well?
Only thing is with the platform, there's going to have to be some major plumbing moved if we put both coolers in that spot after measuring things out. I'm not sure what it's actually called. I call it a commode, but where everything gets flushed down and our laboratory and all that piping, that's all going to have to be rearranged somewhere, because with the width of it, with the 3 feet for the electrical panel, we're running short of footage for the cooler, both of them be there. The one cooler will fit, but 2 won't.
So do we need to table this until something
Do
gets
you think if we
resolved?
get done at 25,000, I mean, that's what they're awarding, so.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it
see,
really-
we've got, Steve and I looked at also where I call it the shooting range, where the, used to be a sand trap out there with the overhead door that comes down. We set the new cooler in there, that we still got a door that we seal it off, so it's out of everybody's, out of sight for anybody else at the annex. It's on the backside of where the fire department, our fire truck sits, where the old cooler sits.
So you're moving it to a new location now than what you originally proposed?
Well, it won't fit in that location.
Both of you, one of them or both of them?
Both of them won't fit in that location.
But one of them will.
One of them will, yes.
Would
One
you,
will, the second one won't,
so would you put one in one location, one in the other one?
yes.
The problem you get into, Randy, is right now is his body cooler is kind of in the same room with his autopsy table.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought process, if I understand this correctly, was that they would build, the low area where the boiler room is, electrical panels, and that would be built up to the same level as his floor, and they would recess them both in there. So it took him outside of his actual autopsy room. And, but that was that was the idea, but I don't know.
That's what was measured, when we started measuring, both of them won't fit there because that wall looks like it's wide enough, but we get on the backside,
So,
it's not.
So if you move it out into the awning or whatever you're,
It's,
I don't know what that room
where
is.
the bands, or where the bands you set up many years ago at the Armory, in that recessed, area behind where that fire truck sits now.
So would you take them both there?
No, we'd still go ahead and put that one, recess it in, get the beam, so we could still use the lift and stuff with the one.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have the second one available for lifting bodies off of the lift.
Well, the second one's gonna be used, the walk-in's gonna be used, they're gonna stay on the cot.
so stay on
Right.
the
We're not
cots
gonna
really.
move them until we get them in there. Then we still got the lift there in the autopsy room to lift the body up.
But you're losing the access of the second cooler with the lift.
Well, the walk-in cooler, we don't need a lift anyway, because they're staying on cots. They're gonna stay on cots, we just roll them in the walk-in cooler on a cot, and they stay there until we need them. And, where the lift is needed is with the cooler we got now. And that's gonna be the one that's gonna be recessed into the wall.
So how much more are you talking about dollar wise to do the extra wiring or plumbing or?
Only thing we'd actually have to put in, and there's enough in the appropriation to put an exhaust fan in the wall where the walk-in cooler goes.
You're just changing the layout?
Yes,
Okay.
What I would like to, before we get into this thing here, I would like to table that until he gets specific details.
if you want to come out and.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's not the autopsy room, it's in the armory itself.
Yeah, but it's,
It's
to
not.
make sure we don't get something started here and don't have it.
Yeah, and one, in a perfect world, you'd rather have them both in your,
Yes.
where you had it designed to begin with, right?
But, yes, but, the old cooler that broke down was not in our autopsy room anyway. It's where we're going to put the new cooler. That's where the old cooler is broke down right now, sitting out there right now, in that same location that we're wanting to put. the
But
new
it's separated, Randy, and you're correct. For his office to function efficiently, be ideal to have his coolers with access right into where he does.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think we need to do this. We need to think about it a little bit closer. If we have to spend a little bit more money to fix it up right inside your office, like your original into the boiler room, I think it'd be the best. Instead of having one out, I know where you're talking about. It's right here on the side of the new building, on that side of the armory.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
side facing the new.
I'd rather see us just try to,
I agree too.
that one room is not being used.
While we're doing it,
While we're spending it all, get it right.
Yeah,
Instead of just like the lift is not properly located, we're gonna have to fix that with this process. So whatever we do, so the thing is efficient and works.
Yeah.
So,
And have them together and right there where he needs them.
else it's a lot of money, but I'd like to see the price. I'd rather see, my opinion, all in one location.
Well, there's just not enough, there's not enough for everybody to put them in the wall now, that boiler room area. If there wasn't steps to go down into it, then that cooler could be sitting down in the lower section with a ramp up to the autopsy room. But that's gonna be, you got two ways to get in the boiler room. Right now, you got 4 steps, either way you come into that boiler room. And we can't do, use cots on those steps. We'd have to build ramps or.
yeah, we don't wanna build anything like that.
No.
And I don't want somebody to be moving a cot down a ramp and slip and, whatever, what may happen, you never know.
Would you look at it, Randy, since
Yeah,
you're more in the
yeah.
construction side of things?
I would just table that right now in that respect till we get more of the details and try to figure out how we can make this
But I agree with
work.
Mr. Cleveland that it should all be together.
With an autopsy, so after the autopsy, if you got time, they just.
I'll pass on that. I'll wait
I'll
till you get
pass.
done. So,
No.
okay, the second thing we have that came through that we set aside money for is that those ARP funds will be audited every year because of the amount of them. And in having a earlier discussion with the State Board of Accounts on a federal audit, they estimated $7,500 is what our cost would be, just a guess. And we would have to do it in 23, 24, 25, and 26. So we set aside $30,000 before we grant the rest of that we would set aside $30,000 to pay for those audits that we know will be coming.
That way it won't come out of any of that.
It doesn't come out of any other county funds. It's set aside out of the ARP funds to pay for it. So,
Did we make a motion on tabling Warren?
No.
Okay.
I think we need to do that.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion on warrants to table until we get a little more details.
I make that motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And on the 30,000, I'd entertain a motion to approve, to set aside 30,000 for audits for
Make
the
a
ARP
motion.
funds.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item up is the county visitors and tourism commission letters of interest. At our last meeting, and I brought it with me, and I think Andrea needs to review it. What was presented to us about the requirement to have 2 individuals on there that were involved in hotel motel is not from the county ordinance. Our requirement is only 1. And then, but both of them require affiliation, not a majority or a simple majority of one political party. So I think it's, before we take any action on that, we need to make sure Andrew's on board that we're following legally what our ordinance states. So, and I got that with me, and if he hangs around a little bit, I'll hand it to him and go through it. That's,
So you want to table that?
I want to table that till he has a chance to look through that.
So we'll be
ordinance.
tabling this till August? Because he won't be here again? Or are you gonna
Well,
table till
he
next
can,
meeting?
he can look at it.
Okay.
I can get back to you before your
Yeah, you can get back
meeting.
with us before the August. Yeah.
That should be.
We'll see once he
You
comes.
make a
together.
motion on that? Make a motion.
I'll second that.
Motion was made to table it pending review of the county attorney, and we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting is July 16th it says Monday here, but I think that'll be a Tuesday. That's the right day.
Before you adjourn, though, I would like to address the commissioners regarding the addition, that the latest plan that was adopted, apparently the west wing private restroom was stripped at that for whatever reason. So since we've got some ARP money set aside, I'd like to formally request to the commissioners that the west wing get a private restroom included somewhere.
That process we've always followed is that the ARP committee opens up categories and then proposals are brought in front of it. We followed that from the beginning. And we set up originally, and it was before me, that group to basically do the work on all these. So trying to cut in front of that process.
But you've just set aside $100,000 to do what with ARP money?
Pardon?
Did you just say you set aside $100,000 of money to do what with?
No,
No, they set aside 30,000 for audit
pay for
fees.
Oh,
audits.
okay.
And we did that. The ARP committee actually recommended that we do that.
So
Their
we-
meeting.
And you were the president of the ARP, is that correct?
Yes.
So we wouldn't have to,
And the commissioners decide ARP funds regardless of what the committee suggested, correct?
The commissioners, it's just like any other county funds. The commissioners have to approve it and the council has to approve it. The ARP committee has no legal authority to do anything.
Okay, so
They
let me just say
make
this. I don't care where you get the money from. I'm requesting that we get a private restroom on the west side.
Or can you
And
explain
you all figure out
why,
where the money comes from.
or can the commissioners explain why the bathroom was taken out of the original plan? I mean, I've heard, and I know I sent an email with no response from any of you.
And there was no discussion about any of this with anybody on this side of the building. None. One person making all the decisions about all of it.
it wasn't just one person, it was all 3 of us because we all 3 voted on it.
That's true. That is
Randy,
true.
did, you were okay with stripping that bathroom?
I said, I can't remember when I said it, but I said, we want to see what this comes in at this price. And my goal was always Kevin's room where Teresa's room used to be. Before Randy and Becky got here, we always thought that would be a good spot because the bathroom's right on the other side, the plumbing would be right there, but we don't know engineering-wise if it would work. That's why I thought years, before we started doing this other project, that's where I thought we needed to put the private bathroom. And, but we just never did get it done. When we did all the woodworking, the new roof that time, we had other priorities at that time. So is that a spot we can look at down the road? I think we probably just have Kenny Simpson to see if it's even capable of.
I mean, it was
putting
in the
there.
original plan, so obviously it was capable at some point.
But was there other things in that plan?
Okay, see, I think everybody's missing to, this was not a courthouse renovation plan. This was to provide space for the prosecutor who works with the courts, works with the jail, to get them on the county property campus so that their office would have some efficiencies back and forth.
I completely get that, but the original plan had them moving down here and a bathroom. And from what I understand, an email that was sent out from one office initiated these changes to where the bathroom was cut out. So honestly, it's been portrayed or assumed, like in my email, and lack of communication from any of you guys defending that explains that it's being assumed that, okay, because you guys questioned us, I went over that email and it's literally just asking questions, concerns, nothing more than just communication, asking, have you thought of this? Have you thought of this? You know, doesn't mean anything. It's just basically saying, hey, what about this? And then the second plans were just pushed through so quick. And the first time anybody other than the three of you saw them, possibly the prosecutor saw them beforehand, was after they were approved.
And I had requested
Multiple times.
via email and got zero communication. And this is the thing, there is zero communication with anybody on this building. Zero communication. It's going to affect every one of us every day. It's not going to affect any of you any day. It's going to affect us every day. And you would think, out of respect, as an elected official, we could have some type of communication without having to come to this meeting and do this. But that's not the plan. That's not going to happen. So here I am. So I'm trying to get some dialogue discussion going as to why there's zero communication other than here, you're going to live with it.
I don't. You emailed all of us?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I absolutely did. And
I
got
emailed
zero
her last week.
communication.
I'm talking about her.
Yes, I did.
There was a response from the recorder's office, sent an email, and then the assessor responded. After the second plans were sent or were approved, then Mindy emailed all three of you asking for a copy of it.
I emailed
And
every
no one-
elected official's office.
And I have got so many questions saying, hey, Chris, have you seen those plans? Because, you know, typically the main communication is with your auditor and your administrator. And I'm like, I haven't got anything. And then literally I've looked at it and I've questioned it, but you guys are exactly right. You guys have done everything properly. Ken Simpson has emailed the commissioners. He told me the plans, okay? Because I was trying to get you guys on the fact that you guys were meeting separately and having discussions on these plans. But that was not the case. You guys are smart. You know you can't do that. But what was happening was dialogue and communication between one person and Kenny Simpson was happening. And then the plans were being sent to all three of you. And then at a meeting, they're being approved, which the original plans were approved in April by all three of you. And then there was another meeting to where the second plans were approved when Randy Cleaving wasn't here, but it still passes 2-0. So yes, technically, legally, have you guys done anything wrong? Absolutely not. But morally, can you say that you have literally talked to people that it affects? Absolutely not. And the fact that the way it looks, and when there's no communication, you have nothing left to do but assume is, hey, you guys questioned us on this. And I'm going to say, I didn't agree with all of the questions that were done in that email. That wasn't a
But
consensus.
the
That was
whole
one
email
person.
was sent to open dialogue,
Open dialogue.
open conversation. Let's sit down at the table and let's have a discussion like adults instead of, nope, this is how I'm gonna do it, boom, live with it.
And literally the assumption is, okay, you guys are gonna question us. Okay, we're gonna take your bathroom away. The west side, I know it seems so minute, but the west side has not had a bathroom, and Randy Cleveland can vouch that that's been something that has been asked for multiple years prior to me. And we were gonna get a bathroom in that original plan. All people had was questions about that original plan because nothing had been communicated. And then the second plans were like, boom, we're gonna stick it to you, now you lose your bathroom. That's the way it was.
intention.
Well, when you don't communicate, no one has anything else but to assume. So all I'm saying is you're spending $700,000 to bring the prosecutor over here, and they're getting efficiency opinions or efficiency changes. And they're getting a bathroom in there, a private bathroom in there. They're getting all that. When you're spending $700,000, you'd think that you'd want to at least take care of the rest of your West Side courthouse and at least get them a bathroom. So when there's no communication, you have nothing left to do but assume.
In the first set of plans, was the bathroom the only thing?
The
There
bathroom,
was a break room or
there
extra
was a bathroom
doors?
and break room. Yep.
Extra doors?
You, from what I assumed too, what I heard, this is just what I heard, that those original plans, it was gonna be moving the record room, which that is where our server and everything is.
Mhm.
So that was gonna cost a lot more money
Yes.
to do that. So that's why you guys changed to where the addition, so in the first thing, that hadn't been thought of. And that's what happens when you only use one or two people's brain cells instead of having a committee and using other people's brain cells. That wasn't thought of. So then, that's gonna cost more money and it's gonna be a little bit more elaborate to move the records room. So then this new plan was created to just do an addition and then the bathroom, the break room, yes. Did we like the plans of the first plans, or were the first plans?
Parts of it, but there was just, it wasn't thought all the way through. There's a lot of concerns that we deal with daily.
And then the second plans, the bathroom.
Well, breakers. There's stuff dealing with, and those were questions that were brought up. None of that was addressed. Absolutely none of that was addressed. We're just gonna build it on and forget about it. So we're gonna continue to throw Blakers and do all those things, but there was no communication whatsoever.
And just like the ARP committee, you guys say you've got an ARP committee, we've got all these committees that you put together for other purposes, and you don't have to agree, but common practice is we create committees to where everyone has input and insight, not just one or two people.
But everybody's
And then you
involved
get
comes to the
that. A
table.
committee should have been formed to do this, but it's all been done behind. And trust me, I've looked into it. Yes, you guys have not done anything legally wrong, but morally, absolutely.
So let me address this just a little bit, and I think there's a lot of assumptions being made. First of all, it's not a courthouse renovation.
It's an addition.
It's for efficiencies for the prosecutor.
Then don't have them a bathroom. Why are you having them a bathroom?
So would that make everybody feel better if they didn't have a bathroom?
No, but what's your sense?
Mamie,
What's your point?
please, Chris, unless you want to continue, I'd like to read through this. This is what we
I
received.
apologize.
The west side storage room is basically being reduced in half. Where's the maintenance personnel office going to be located? Where will the old records go in the storage room? Where's the server going to go? Trust me, all of these things were considered before the bathroom and the break room were installed. But this group, and it included everyone on this email, had these concerns. Then the second item was a cost comparison to construct a freestanding building done versus renovating the current building. First of all, we're not renovating, we're adding to the existing building, we're not renovating it. And a freestanding was considered, and basically that's what we're building back there. Let me explain that a little bit to you. When you build onto an existing building, as this building is being proposed, we do not have to pay for the wall or have an exterior finish on the one long wall that'll be adjoining the courthouse currently. So we're building 3 walls. It's independent, it has an independent heating and air conditioning system. It has fire ratings between the buildings, so it can be treated separately, and it does not have to have a sprinkler system. So there's a cost savings associated with it. The next thing is we come in here and it talks about the cost of renovating the courthouse being considered. We're not renovating the courthouse. We're trying to build space for the prosecutor. Renovating the courthouse is another project at another time. Has there been discussions on locating the courthouse expansion to the west side or the east side or the south side or wherever else? Yes, because that side over there is shorter than this side over here on the east side. For some reason, it was never added. This will make them exactly the same. The asphalt paving lot will look just like it is over here. It was considered. Again, freestanding building on the sheriff's property down there. What that would do was take the prosecutor who goes from her office to the courts on a regular basis and make her go from the sheriff's office up here. And I would say that any one of you that have a current office in here would not like to have your records stored across the street where you had to walk across there to get to them. But again, this is simply to provide space for the prosecutor's office. Then it asks, there's huge issues with the heating and air conditioning in the courthouse. Are we going to fix that? This is an independent heating and air conditioning system. We're not touching the courthouse. Currently, the west side has electrical issues of tripping breakers. We're not doing anything to any electrical in the courthouse. It's not part of this. We come in here, the plans and discussion day. If the west side employees park on the south side, only a few parking spaces will be left for the commissioners, county council, county highway, and other county employees. We will have more spaces when this project is done than we have now, substantially more than the prosecutor's office needs. You may have to walk a few more steps in some cases, depending on. We can remove those extra vehicles that sit back here and provide space. During construction, where will the employees park? Very little. The only thing we'll lose is the back spaces here. And during construction, they're going to leave the back door open so you can come and go. We're hoping to get it, by getting it passed, get it done this summer so that they can move in here. The dust, noise, and congestion, it's an independent building. The access to that is from the outside. We work about quality. We're concerned about that. And we think a freestanding building would cause less or no interruptions. During tax season, we're concerned with the criminals that will be coming in and down the hallway. Well, that's one of the things we did. We took the hallway out so they have no access to the prosecutor's office. It's independent. Access comes from the front or from the back. They have to come all the way back around to come into the front of the courthouse. So there will be no problems with that. So we address that too during tax season. And then we're talking about security reasons. It's another one. They will not be in this courthouse building. There's no way to get in here through the back now. And then it comes there. I understand there's over $2 million in the fund. Yes, there is. But we're only adding on to try to bring the prosecutor to the area where they work.
Well, gee, Randy, that took you 10 minutes to go through that. Why couldn't you do that 3 months ago?
This is the letter that was sent to us. So
right, when was that sent to you? 3 months ago. Why are you just now addressing it?
All of those concerns we took into consideration, and we're not touching anything in the courthouse how it currently functions today. When the construction is completed, it will be exactly as it is today. We haven't started any kind of renovations or anything in the courthouse. Not that they're not justifiable in some cases, or I know the heating and air conditioning system needs to be addressed. But this is simply, simply to bring her here.
Well, I'm glad her here is your main goal, because all of us here existing apparently are not.
I want to know why the change from the first. Okay, so this email was sent out in April with no response. And those, I'm not throwing the recorder under the bus, but the recorders sent that email. That is their questions. And they copied all of us to keep communication. Nobody responded to that email. Wait, then you have your original plans. So your original plans, I was told that this email caused the changes in the original plan for the second plan. And I've been heard to understand that you had this renovation up. You've been the main point of contact in this renovation. So can you explain to us why the changes from plan 1 to plan 2 happened because of that email?
This entire letter, which included everyone, with no one saying, I disagree with anything here, we decided that we can address all of these concerns if we isolate the prosecutor's office.
Okay. You
Simply.
said we, so when did you guys meet to discuss those, and who met to discuss those?
Okay, I went to Kenny Simpson's office. You may not realize this, but I have a substantial background in construction. With that said, I went to Kenny and I said, we have an entire list of concerns of all the West Side employees because all their names were on here. And I said,
All our names weren't on that email. We were copied on that email. We were copied on that email.
you were aware of it.
You were aware of it as well.
Absolutely. So I took action by saying, Kenny, we have a whole list of concerns, How can we address these? They've got problems with what's going on. So for us to address them, we just said, hey, if we make it independent, then everything they currently have, all their storage, all their concerns about criminals, everything is addressed that they have right here. And at the same time, our bonus is it will cost us less money. And he's, it was an over. So what we did, he sketched it up, sent it out.
Mhm.
Everyone was aware of it, commissioners, because it is our job to make these decisions for the county.
With communication with
and-
other offices.
It would be a little, I just don't, and maybe I'm wrong with this here, but I don't think that, Mindy, you should be making decisions on how the prosecutor office is.
Okay, Randy, I'm gonna make a decision that concerns you. I'm gonna make that decision on my own. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go talk to Kenny, and we're gonna make a decision that's gonna affect you every day. But I'm not gonna tell you anything about it until it's already cut and dry. How are you gonna like that?
What
You're
is
not gonna like it at all, no more than we like it.
What decision was made that affects you? Tell me what that is.
Everything back here is gonna affect us.
What?
Parking is gonna
Explain it to
affect
me.
us, parking. We're
Okay,
gonna
so
park.
explain it.
We're
So in
gonna
other words, you have additional parking, but because you're gonna lose 6 spots along there,
Where's the additional parking gonna be?
it's going to be around the side.
Around the side.
Yeah.
So what entrance are we gonna have? Same one we have now?
Yes?
Okay.
Nothing changes.
So it's not gonna affect me. It's not gonna affect me.
7 parking spots.
I've got to walk from here to the sheriff's office, but you're right, it's not gonna affect me. Don't include me in it because it's not gonna affect me.
If that becomes a burden, possibly we can get some service that would pick you up in the parking lot and drive you to the
Oh, for
door.
the love of God.
Exactly. If you can't walk an extra 4 or 5
Okay, so
parking spots.
let me ask you this, since all of this is to get the prosecutor here, and the parking lots are gonna be back here, the parking spot, is there gonna be designated parking spots? So since it's the prosecutor's edition, the prosecutor could get these parking lots and everybody else parks over here? Is that the plan? Because I don't know, because there's no communication. So I'd like to get this out in the open before it's done.
Is there any designated spots?
There is not, so I just want to clarify
So
that
why
that
do-
doesn't happen.
Why do we want to do that? Why do we have designated spots?
Why do we
Because
want to
all
do
of
a lot of
sudden,
things, but we're
if
doing
we
it?
have one for the assessor, a designated spot, and you go to Indianapolis for a week, the spot stays empty. I have never
I'm
been,
just
I have
clarifying.
never thought that was
I'm just
fair.
clarifying.
Whoever shows up gets whatever
All right.
spot.
So whenever
I mean,
there's,
they-
well, okay, I'm holding you to that. I'm holding you to that.
There's no reason to do it any other way, because you end up with empty
right.
spots.
I've said my piece. Thanks for listening. I hope in the future we have more open communication versus you making the decisions and y'all live with it.
No, we all 3 made the decisions.
Well, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second that, Randy.
All those in favor? Aye.
this